My name's Sam. I'm a creative. I'm a cat dad. I recently just went through a breakup with my studio. Um, I sit on a board of directors for a mental health organization. I'm an advocate, and I think more importantly, like I'm human. One of the questions that Austin asked was if we had a hard time coming up with what kind of cycle that we're breaking. And honestly, like I just thinking about everything I had to do in the last year, like the amount of cycles I've had to break were numerous. But I think like in this context of my life that I'm currently in, the thing that resonates with me most um, is this ever revolving cycle of sustainability with my life. And I think the thing that I came to conclusion on is the cycle that I'm breaking is realizing that I'm human first and then everything else second. I think we get so far from the idea that we constantly have to be something or someone or be the best or whatever it may be. And I think we forget the most important part is, to do all these things, like we have to be human first. This is about to get deep. I'm apologizing in advance. So 26 was probably like one of the most difficult periods of my life. I've had the most change physically, mentally, and spiritually. I think like all my lows felt like I just compartmentalized them and kind of pushed them away, and all my highs never just felt like a win to me. Um, I was consuming so much life that I just wasn't able to process anything, and essentially I had to turn myself into a robot. We all have one mind, one body, spirit, and soul, and all these things are responsible for making you human. And when you aren't feeding into these different pockets of your life, can we even call ourselves human? Does anybody here know what the Maslow hierarchy of human needs are? All right, cool. I thought I was talking to, a peanut gallery, but I'm glad I'm not. So just for the folks that don't know, it's this, imagine like a triangle where, we have all of our human needs like listed from the bottom being the base and the most important things to the top where it's like things that we might need, but like aren't as important as the bottom. So at the bottom is your physiological needs. So like, food, water, sleep, air, shelter, clothing. The second layer is safety and security. So protection, stability, health, financial security. The third is love and belonging, relationships, friends, family, and one thing that's silent as well, community. 4 is esteem needs. So self-respect, confidence, recognition, and achievement. And then 5 is self-actualization. So personal growth, purpose, creativity, and fulfillment. I think like we as humans, we really focus on those first two, and then we forget to, think too deeply about the other 3. So today, I'd like to really share my journey with thinking about these other 3 things on this pyramid. So I just want to ask a question, just with a show of hands you guys can give me. Who feels like they give everything into what you do? Who feels like they put their clients or just other people before themselves? And who here feels like they don't have the energy to love themselves in the way that they need? Um, so I wear a lot of different hats. One of them is being the co-owner of a clothing brand called the Hood Hippie Love Yourself. And this brand just means like so much to me. And I felt like I was pouring so much of myself into like the business, and it because it felt like my lifeblood and like my purpose. Um, the team, like we were building a community of people every day that was focused on wearing clothes that felt good, but also building a community of people that were really open to loving themselves. Um, my business partner is like my best friend and brother. I remember a day came last year where I missed a lot of deadlines because of a plethora of things happening in my life. And I get a call from him one day, and he asked what was going on and why I was missing all these deadlines, and it wasn't a nice call, but it was good to have someone that was, like, real with me. I remember talking with him and trying to come up with, like, excuses and being like, "Oh, I'm just gonna, I'll do it all next week," but I think at the end of that call, I realized I was really, like, broken down. I was burnt out. My family was going through, like, a really rough period of life. I just restructured my business, and it wasn't going in the way that I thought it would. Um, I felt like I was failing everything I was, like, doing, and I had no control over the things that were happening in my life. And I think the thing that I realized out of all of this is, like, I really hated myself. I was running a business called Love Yourself, and here I was doing the complete opposite of, doing that. And I ended up calling him back and I told him everything that was going on, and we talked about it and he gave me a lot of good feedback and things I needed to do, but you know, I, like a lot of people, just fell into the same trap of doing the same thing again. I felt like I told myself I wasn't doing enough. All these things were failing, like, because of me. And because of this, like, all that was in my mind was just working at this unnatural pace and feeling like not doing enough was my normal. And peace wasn't normal for me. And I was too deep in it to even, like, realize where I was. I had a couple of realizations as I continued my burnout. My first one, I thought I had this endless glass of water I could keep pouring from, and the amount of cups I had to pour into were multiplying. And the more I thought I had in my cup of giving, the more these things multiplied. My second realization, I was really lying to not only myself, but the community of people that were supporting the brand and the community of people that were really in my corner. The third is everything is a transaction and nothing should ever cost who you are. My people in my community were begging me to take care of myself, and at the time I really had no intention of listening because immigrant mentality is just locking in and keeping your head down and forgetting everything else until it works, and that's just not sustainable at all. And the thing I realized is I was doing it for 9 years, and another 40 or 50 years probably wouldn't bother me if I didn't burn out. The second thing on the pyramid I want to talk about is esteem needs. So self respect, confidence, recognition, and achievement. So again, I'm going to ask some questions. Uh, so who here has an inner voice that they used to talk to themselves? Just with a ray. Everybody's hand should go up. Everybody's hand should go up. This is just a question to think about. You don't have to answer. Do you talk to yourself in a nice way? Or are you always saying that you're not good enough? And then just with a show of hands again, who here speaks out loud in the way that you talk to yourself? So if I'm saying, like, I'm not doing enough, I'm vocalizing and saying to myself, I'm not doing enough out loud. Does anybody do that? You guys find it hard to say these things out loud? Or is it pretty easy? No. I think breaking the cycle of burnout is recognizing it for what it is and having the confidence and discipline to ask for help and start the change. I've done a lot of inner work when I was 26, a lot of it due to a program I was a part of. And this program, like, you have to apply for, and it was a whole process. But again, I just felt like I wasn't, like, good enough to be a part of it. Um, but like something kept saying to me, like, apply to this program, and a lot of people are in my circle were telling me to apply to this program. Um, and the thing that just kept on going through my head was, you know, if not me, who? And if not now, when? Like, when will it be good enough for me to, like, be a part of something? So I got accepted into this program. It was a cohort of 10 change makers and leaders who received grant funding to explore who we are as, like, leaders and individuals. It's called the Baldwin Leadership Program. And you know, you can do anything. Like they give you $5,000 to spend on whatever you want to explore yourself. And I think a lot of people like go on trips, but you have to have like a personal project like attached to it with an outcome. So naturally, as an introvert, I chose, you know, the thing that would feel the most natural, which was making a whole documentary on myself, exposing every deep, dark secret that I have, and traveling out west for like the first time. Um, and this was really a forcing mechanism for me to really explore myself and really kind of like expedite the process of me like dealing with all of my burnout. Um, my project took me and two friends who documented my trip across the country for the first time in my life to San Francisco, where my family first arrived to when coming to America, and then driving all the way up to Washington State to see my dad's sister, who gifted me my first camera and essentially is the reason I'm here talking today. Um, and this project is like ever evolving and still going on to this day. Like I'm filming some stuff for the doc on Thursday. And I'm really proud of like the work that my team has put in, but I think they've really instilled in me this confidence and this trust to make this project and tell the best story. One of those people on my team, his name's Bakhtash. He's an Afghan combat interpreter who turned into an Emmy Award-winning producer. And he shared with me this quote, and he said, "The more specific you get about your story, the more universal it becomes." And like these words just really stuck with me. And before we start the last section, I do want to show a trailer.
My name's Sam, and I'm a dreamer, but not in the way that you're thinking. Living in Lancaster, PA, my career in storytelling has led me to document many stories for other people, but I've never felt okay exploring my own. I lost my dad to a battle with terminal cancer my senior year of high school. For a long time, I lost myself. I realized I didn't know a lot about his story. Since then, I've been on a search for who I am and where I belong in this world. I've been a DACA recipient for more than half my life now. While living in this immigration limbo, traveling has been difficult. I've never had the chance to meet my extended family, visit my motherland, or understand my roots. To know who you are, you need to know where you came from. That's why I'm embarking on a journey of the soul, retracing where my family took their first steps in America, reconnecting with relatives who know my past, and exploring what it really means to be a dreamer. This is the closest and the furthest I've been from home. Across the sea is the Philippines. Across the land is Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. When I was saying goodbye, I didn't really know my dad too well, but I just was like thinking about like, would you be proud of like the person that I am?
The final point on this pyramid is self-actualization. So personal growth, purpose, creativity, and fulfillment. So again, I'm gonna ask some questions. Just with a show of hands, who here knows what they want and how to get there? All right. Who here feels like they know their purpose as a creative? Who here is still looking for it? So, oh, not in the cage. So I'm almost at my 10-year mark with being a creative full-time. Being very specific about my story has been a very difficult process. And I think the thing that I've realized after all these years is that my growth as a person comes as a direct result from being creative. A camera has always been an extension of who I am for the last, almost 10 years of my life now. And, as corny as it sounds, I feel like my calling and purpose is to really make sure people aren't forgotten through the photos and videos I capture. And it took me my whole career up until, this documentary to really know that about myself. The legacy I want to leave is the history of stories that I have the opportunity to tell and the knowledge of creating a more sustainable lifestyle as a human. We spend our creative careers sometimes chasing different goals and finding new purposes, and everything in between. And that is natural, and that's supposed to happen. So, my 9-year burnout happened not because I wasn't working hard enough. It was because I was moving fast with no direction and not listening to my village, my people in my community telling me to change course. I would love to say I'm far from the place where I was a year ago, but I've only really started applying the knowledge that I learned from the last few months. And, slowing down and really reflecting makes a whole ton of a difference. Um, I left some self-reflection questions. Boom. Nice. So these questions here really helped me with my burnout and really tried to, break me out of that cycle. Um, and, I just want everybody to remember to slow down and work at a natural pace and remember that we're all human first and everything else second. Thank you.